Rockstar Welcome coming up in 3, 2.
Well, we won.
To all of my fellow patriots, we won. We won. President Trump receiving a rockstar welcome in Las Vegas yesterday. Folks, we've never had a president that is a rock star, and it's because of the simple fact that he represents us. That's what makes President Trump a rock star. My favorite part of the Las Vegas speech yesterday from President Trump was just a quick recap of what he's done in the first 5 days of his second term as president of these United States, the greatest republic on God's green earth.
Our message could not be more clear. America's decline is over. American decline is over. We're laughed at all over the world. Now we're not laughed at anymore, I'll tell you.
America's decline under the last joker in the Oval Office was more precipitous than the cognitive decline of the same aforementioned joker. And the world isn't laughing anymore. Make sure you catch my afternoon report. I do an in-depth report. And after you watch that, you will see the world is not laughing at us at all any longer.
What the world witnessed this week is nothing less than a revolution of wealth creation for everyone and also common sense. It's about common sense. It really is. We're the party of common sense.
I think you guys have already seen me do my common sense dance earlier in the week, where common sense is such a thing to be celebrated in 2025.
For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 was truly Liberation Day. That was really Liberation Day. This week, I also signed an order to end the weaponization of our government against American people and political people like me. We never had a thing like that. He went after his political opponent.
Don't forget, folks, it wasn't just Jack Smith and Letitia James and Fannie Willis and the weaponization of the justice system against President Trump. Let's not forget, they really try to take him out via assassin. Once again, I'm going to cover that in my in-depth report later this afternoon.
We did more in this last week. People can't even believe it. I also signed an order to declassify and publish all remaining files related to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr.
Now, I want to talk about this for a second as it pertains to Martin Luther King Jr. We got this report. MLK family responds to Trump executive order to declassify records, asked to review files before they are released to the rest of us. Well, isn't that interesting? The family of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has responded to President Trump's executive order to declassify records relating to the late civil rights leader's assassination, requesting that they be granted the opportunity to review the files as a family prior to its public release. Bernice King, Martin Luther King Jr.'s youngest child, responded to the announcement in a statement on social media on behalf of her family. Today, our family has learned that President Trump has ordered the declassification of the remaining records pertaining to the assassination of JFK, his brother RFK, and our father, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. For us, the assassination of our father is a deeply personal family loss that we have endured over the last 56 years. We hope to be provided the opportunity to review the files as a family prior to its public release. At this time, the King family is not taking any interviews as they await further information. Now, Bernice, who is only 5 years old, has had her whole life to look at this, and she doesn't believe the official narrative. Bernice, a 5-year-old, when her 39-year-old father was shot while standing on the second-floor balcony of his room at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee in 1968, has previously stated she does not believe that the man convicted of pulling off the assassination, James Earl Ray, was guilty. Ray, a prison escapee who committed a variety of crimes prior to MLK's murder, pleaded guilty to the assassination in order to avoid the death penalty. He died about 29 years into his 99-year sentence from health complications. It pains my heart that James Earl Ray had to spend his life in prison paying for things he didn't do, Bernice told the Washington Post, in 2018. Instead of Ray, the King family has said that a conspiracy possibly involving the FBI was behind the fatal shooting. FBI, CIA, the alphabet agencies, once again working against the American people. They know what's up. They just want to be able to prepare as a family privately before we all get to see it publicly. MLK Jr.'s widow, Coretta Scott King, said there was abundant evidence showing a major high-level conspiracy in the assassination of my husband following the 1999 verdict of the family civil suit to force more information about the event into the public eye. A Memphis jury found the local, state, and federal government officials were liable for his death. Multiple government agencies, along with members of the mafia, were deeply involved in the assassination. Mr. Ray was set up to take the blame. Coretta, who died almost 20 years ago, said at the time. The civil case came after Lloyd Jowers, the owner of the restaurant near the Lorraine Hotel, confessed to ABC News in 1993 that Frank Liberto, a Memphis produce dealer and alleged mobster, asked him to hire someone to assassinate Dr. Martin Luther King and paid him $100,000. The DOJ has maintained the opinion that Jowers fabricated his allegations, hoping to promote a sensational account of a conspiracy to murder Dr. King. According to Trump's White House, the recent executive orders requires the Director of National Intelligence and other appropriate officials to present a plan for the full and complete release of all JFK assassinations within 15 days and allotted 45 days for the records relating to RFK and MLK. And now you know why the deep state minions that are still in place are going to be fighting the confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, there's some stuff happening at the DNI. And I hate to sound like I'm promoting the next report, but I actually did the next report before I did this report. It's a deep dive and it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I go into detail about the 4D chess of President Trump in fighting the deep state. And guess what? This battle is being fought right now at the DNI. Once again, make sure you catch my next report. Let's go back to Trump.
I signed an order that will end all of the lawless diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense all across the government and the private sector. We abolished 60 years of prejudice and hatred with the signing of one order, all approved by the United States Supreme Court. We're allowed to do it because we are now in a merit-based world. We're a merit-based country.
I was going to mention that we're going to talk about one of the agencies that's getting purged right now because of the Trump doctrine of meritocracy. And I was going to tell you that I discussed that in the next episode, but that would seem like I'm promoting a lot the next report. So why don't we just hit the introduction and get on with other news. Okay, officially, I want to welcome you to the program. I am James, the original BCP. Let's continue with the big thing that President Trump said in Las Vegas as far as how it affects us and our pocketbooks and our bank accounts. President Trump, once again, bringing up something that he said previously, but now that he's president, is closer to becoming our reality.
These were lunatics. The result was the most brutal inflation in a half a century, perhaps ever in this country, I think ever, and soaring prices for food, groceries, and other household goods. On day one, I directed every member of my cabinet to marshal all powers at their disposal to defeat inflation and bring down the cost of daily life. We want to bring prices down. Too high. They went way up. They didn't come down.
Inflation was way up and they never came down. But it's more than just that. How about keeping the IRS's greasy mitts off our hard-earned money, tips or otherwise?
In the coming weeks, I'll be working with Congress to get a bill on my desk that cuts taxes for workers, families, small businesses, and very importantly, keeps my promise for a thing called, and I know you didn't hear anything about this, but we're going to get it for you. No tax on tips. No tax on tips.
Tax cuts for everyone. Working families, single moms, small businesses, etc., and no tax on tips. President Trump tells the great story of a young waitress who said, "Hey, Mr. President," she worked there at Trump Hotel there in Vegas. Fabulous place. My wife Maria and I we stayed there for about a week several years ago. No casino there. It's really nice. The restaurant is fabulous and pretty reasonably priced for what it is. But I digress. President Trump had this whole great thing about how he couldn't say exactly what this waitress is because you can't say beautiful anymore.
Young waitress. I won't say beautiful because you're not allowed to say that as a politician. Used to be you could say young, beautiful waitress. This was a young, beautiful waitress, but I won't say that because I feel like I want to continue my political career.
And that was very funny, but I want to stay on topic here about our economy because President Trump also addressed the fact that we have too many damn IRS agents, and he has a great idea on what we can do with them.
On day one, I immediately halted the hiring of any new IRS agents. You know, they hired or tried to hire 88,000 new workers to go after you, and we're in the process of developing a plan to either terminate all of them or maybe we'll move them to the border.
When I heard that, I laughed. Move them to the border. Because if you followed me over the last several years, I have railed about how well armed the IRS is. Why does the IRS need to be so well armed? For those that know, no. And President Trump knows, a lot of us know, what the real agenda was. But he's got a new reassignment for them.
Well, they're allowed to carry guns. You know, they're so strong on guns. But these people are allowed to carry guns.
Now, I would like for what this lady is about to yell out to happen. President Trump says it could happen because of tariffs. But man, wouldn't it be so awesome if President Trump actually did this, of course, with Congress, in the next 4 years. This, to me, would be an absolute libertarian dream of mine come true.
So we'll probably move him to the border. Yeah. She said no tax on it. How about just no tax?
How about no tax? I mean, before they ripped us off with the whole Jekyll Island scam, we didn't have income tax. We didn't have an IRS. We didn't have taxes taken off of the top. By the way, that happens when you are a W-2 employee. There's ways around that. Won't talk about it here, folks, but just a reminder, I do have another channel where I talk about business and small business and entrepreneurship, a great way to pay less taxes. But I digress. Just check the link down below. I have a business channel here on YouTube if you're interested in that type of information. But man, wouldn't it be awesome? No income tax, just like we didn't have until 1913 when tariffs funded the government, when other countries funded the government, not we, the worker bees.
You could do that. You know, if the tariffs work out like I think, a thing like that could happen if you want to know the truth. You know, years ago, 1870 to 1913, we didn't have an income tax. What we had is tariffs, where foreign countries came in and they stole our jobs, they stole our companies, they stole our product, they ripped us off. And, you know, they used to do numbers, and then we went to a tariff system, and the tariff system made so much money. It was when we were the richest, from 1870 to 1913. Then we brilliantly came in with an income tax. No, we don't want others to pay. Let's have our people pay.
Gotta love President Trump. All right, let me give you some other very interesting news this weekend. Kristi Noem had a very, very interesting time and place for her swearing in as Secretary of Homeland Security. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem was sworn in as the new Secretary of Homeland Security, not in the grandeur of Washington, D.C.'s planned locations, but in the private residence of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. This last-minute change came after a scheduling hiccup earlier in the day, according to Fox News. The unexpected venue change was necessitated by what J.D. Vance's press secretary Taylor Van Kirk described as a scheduling conflict, which caused the planned 3 p.m. ceremony to be postponed several times throughout the day. Now, folks, there's something going on in D.C. that I've noticed a pattern. And yes, I'm going to discuss this in my in-depth review later today. Make sure you check it out. But let me tell you what it is right now. The usual things that happen in D.C. are not happening in D.C. I want to plant that seed in your head, and you'll see what I talk about when I expound on it in this afternoon's report. The postponement happened. There were people there waiting for her swearing-in ceremony, and the ceremony shift from a formal government setting to a personal one did little to dampen the spirits of those involved. You can see they're like, what happened to Kristi Noem's swearing-in ceremony? Well, at around 6:30 p.m. yesterday, Noem took to Twitter to share the significant moment.
Evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office on which I'm about to enter. Evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office on which I'm about to enter.
The duties on the office of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right. It's such an honor to be sworn in as the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. It was made even more meaningful by being sworn in by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas at his home. Thank you, President Trump, for putting your trust in me and help keep America safe. Now, folks, there are two older gentlemen that I would like to meet personally, and I plan on doing so. And, I mean, not just see, but have a conversation, even if it's a brief one. And that is with our duly elected and beloved President Donald John Trump, and with the OG conservative, black conservative patriot. That, of course, would be the great Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, who has been stalwart in his defense of the Constitution. I want to end with Hegseth. He did have the formal, more pomp and circumstance in his swearing in with J.D. Vance there in D.C., but I want to read to you Secretary Hegseth's first message to the military as the new U.S. Secretary of Defense, because I want to end this on a very powerful note. This is what he had put on the U.S. Department of Defense official defense.gov website yesterday for immediate release. It is a privilege of a lifetime to lead the warriors of the Department of Defense under the leadership of our Commander-in-Chief, Donald J. Trump. We will put America first, and we will never back down. The President gave us a clear mission: achieve peace through strength. We will do this in 3 ways: by restoring the warrior ethos, rebuilding our military, and reestablishing deterrence. We will revive the warrior ethos and restore trust in our military. We are American warriors. We will defend our country. Our standards will be high, uncompromising, and clear. The strength of our military is our unity and our shared purpose. We will rebuild our military by matching threats to capabilities. This means reviving our defense industrial base, reforming our acquisition process, passing a financial audit, and rapidly fielding emerging technologies. We will remain the strongest and most lethal force in the world. We will establish deterrence by defending our homeland, on the ground and in the sky. We will work with allies and partners to deter aggression in the Indo-Pacific by Communist China, as well as supporting the President's priorities to end wars responsibly and reorient to key threats. We will stand by our allies, and our enemies are on notice. All this will be done with a focus of lethality, meritocracy, accountability, standards, and readiness. I have committed my life to warfighters and their families, just as my fellow soldiers had my back on the battlefield. Know that I will always have your back. We serve together at a dangerous time. Our enemies will neither rest nor relent, and neither will we. We will stand shoulder to shoulder to meet the urgency of this moment. Like each of you, I love my country and swore an oath to defend the Constitution. We will do that each and every day as one team. Together, we will accomplish the President's mission to deter war and, if necessary, defeat and destroy our enemies. Godspeed. Bye-bye military in drag. Bye-bye all of the woke ideology that was poisoning our soldiers. We are now back where we should be. Warrior strength to deter our enemies and have peace through the strength of our warriors. God bless Pete Hegseth. God bless President Trump. God bless America. Peace and prosperity. That was the theme, I think, of this report.